The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains. Who knew that it was going to start raining in California this early? All right, let's talk about it. This is the real story with Adam and Sherry. I'm Adam Hamalian,
And I'm Sherry Hutchens.
and this is where two broker associates in Contra Costa County talk about all things real estate. Hey, Sherry,
Hey, Adam, how are you?
I'm wet.
I know I was not ready for rain. It's only October.
I had
It's
some
a little early.
leftover boxes outside that I needed to take over to one of our listings to pack some stuff up, and I forgot, and they got all wet, and they're worthless.
Yeah. Yeah, I frantically moved things out of the backyard into the garage over the weekend earlier than usual just because it's like rain in October. If you're listening outside of California, this is unusual for us. So
Yeah, well, we never get rain.
green and beautiful. So
Do you remember that video we did a couple years ago with the gutter in my at my house, and I was talking about how we need to clean the debris out,
uh-huh. It was
and
December and we were waiting and waiting and waiting for rain.
it never rained, and so we had to fake it. And at the end of this video that I've been standing under the umbrella, it turns out that you had the hose on my roof. Well, that
Yeah.
same corner of my house was overflowing, gutter was overflowing today, and it wasn't because of the hose. So I guess I need to climb up on my roof and clean the gutters out. So all of you who haven't done your fall maintenance, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm really excited. I want to get to our guests today and welcome Devonna Brazier. Hi, Devonna.
Hey, Devana.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Devana is the director of outreach at Walnut Creek Presbyterian Church. This is where I'm a member. And you may recognize her because she was on our podcast a year ago as we were anticipating Thanksgiving and the giving season. And so we felt it was time to have her back and have a discussion about some things that Walnut Creek Press is doing, but then also some other things in our area. So, Devonna, how's your fall going? You have kids off to college. Are you settling into routine as a,
Mhm.
do you have more than one out of the house or just one?
I have two in college, but only one who's out of the house. So
Okay.
my oldest is at Wheaton in Chicago, and she's coming home for fall break this weekend.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, very exciting. Once you launch them, it's thrilling when they return.
Eh,
Like that'll never happen, but they do. They come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And then my middle child is at DVC,
Oh,
so she is
fantastic.
in her first year there, and then my youngest is a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. All right. So you are all over the board.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not your daytime. Well, maybe it is your daytime job. Your daytime job. I mean, I know that you, over the years, you've had different hats on, but we won't go through those. But why don't you help us understand, beside from just kind of your role internally with the church, you have a title that says outreach. So, can you share with us the kinds of organizations that you partner with outside of the church?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a strong focus on justice and mercy in Contra Costa County. So we have a few different partnerships that we really work hard to maintain, both with members of our congregation and just supporting them in the communities that they already have. So one of them is Arm of Care, which they do education and support for people who are human trafficked, which there is surprisingly high number of human trafficking victims in Contra Costa County. So we partner with them primarily by assistance rather than actually doing volunteer work because it's a specialized population.
Hmm.
We also partner with Hope Solutions, which is a supportive permanent housing organization that's in Contra Costa County. They have many, many units. They provide permanent housing for people who were formerly homeless or at the risk of being homeless. They also provide housing for foster care kids who've aged out of the system and for people who are elderly and on fixed income. And we have found great success working with them, especially in the Monument Corridor at their lakeside apartments. We meet with their families at least quarterly to do a clothing distribution event and a pancake breakfast.
Mhm.
We're going to be there later this month, giving away Halloween costumes and stuff like
Oh,
that.
how fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that they started, I mean, it's been what, they're about 25 years old. They started with a different name, and they originally were doing transitional housing for people coming out of institutions and
Right.
having a hard time getting their applications accepted to their first apartment because they had no history. It's just really fun it seems like a weird word to use here, but exciting to see how it has grown in its mission and vision about what they could do beyond just that one segment of population. So when I think about Halloween costumes, that's just,
Mhm.
like every childhood experience. Like you can't wait to dress up for Halloween. You think about it and talk about it weeks ahead of time. So adding just that one little spark of joy to the families that are living there, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Sherry,
We also,
do you have any
oh, go ahead.
childhood memories, Sherry, of Halloween costumes?
Oh yeah, I remember going out shopping for Halloween costumes, and I don't know if you guys are probably not old enough, but they came in just a square 8.5 by 11 box, and it had a cellophane window, and you could see the mask, which was I can't believe we walked around at night in those masks, not being able to see anything. But yes, those are my memories. Yeah, you put the costume on over your regular clothes, and off you went.
And they had like a little tie around your neck, and you sweated profusely inside that mask,
So you do remember.
and your eyelashes got caught in the little slit openings.
Do you remember the smell of that mask? It had a
Oh,
very distinct smell,
it
probably
was
from all the chemicals that made it, but
well, that's how I got the third eye. Sorry, big distraction. Devana, did you have any favorite Halloween costumes when you were a kid?
Yeah, one year my mom made me a tiger costume out of a pair of like footy pajamas
Oh,
that,
how fun.
and I wore that for 2 years. And the first year it fit me too big, and the second year we had to cut the feet off so that I could still walk around in it, which I
Nice.
how I walked around in it outside to trick or treat when it had the feet on it.
yeah.
And there was another year my best friend and I went as conjoined twins, and we sewed
Yeah.
cut off the sleeve of one shirt and sewed it together so we had two heads, and then we walked like tripod legs.
Yeah,
Did the
nice.
whole trick or treat circuit.
Oh my gosh.
That it was exhausting and
Sounds
probably
That
not
exhausting.
safe.
that takes a lot of effort. I think my favorite Halloween costume was actually in college. My roommate and I went as Calvin and Hobbes.
Mm.
I was, you might guess I was Calvin, not Hobbes. But yeah, let's just say I enjoy dressing up. It's fun to act like a child, and I get permission to do it occasionally. Um, Sorry, that was a really detour based on what we were talking about, but it was like I started thinking about kids putting Halloween costumes on, and it kind of got me excited. So that's the Hope Solutions, and primarily that one apartment building, but all those other things you mentioned. I think last year you mentioned something about some tiny houses being built on a campus of another church. Can you
Yeah.
give us an
So
update on that?
sure. So that is one of Hope Solutions projects. They made a partnership with Grace Presbyterian Church, which is near Rossmore and Walnut Creek. And they had some sport courts that weren't being fully utilized by their congregation. So they contracted with Hope Solutions, and Hope Solutions built a village of tiny homes called Hope Village. And I know that they had some struggles with zoning and things like that, although the state did pass a law that faith communities can build housing on their property without the same restrictions that other zoning might place on them. So I think it might be one of the first of those in this area. So they were very groundbreaking in that they finalized the project in December of last year, and people are moving in. And I haven't visited it yet, but I do receive their updates through their mailing list. And I think anybody who wants to get updates can just go to the Hope Solutions website, which is pretty easy. It's just hopesolutions.org, and then find their newsletters, and they would send you updates all the time about what they have going on with their community, what's going on at that Hope Village. It's pretty innovative stuff that they come up with. I'm really proud to partner with them.
Yeah, that's exciting. Any other organizations that you're partnering with you want to mention?
Sure. The only other thing I'd like to bring up is that sometimes we think about underserved peoples as someone that you can fund or care about, but not necessarily someone that you can know or interact with. And one of the other groups that we partner with is called Project Peace, and their mission is to help people get into the communities and serve so that you're actually showing up and working alongside people. So, um, when we go to Hope Solutions at the end of the month, it's actually going to be through a Project Peace Day of Service. So it's on October 25th. And if anybody wanted to give it a try and just see what it's like to go to a school in an underserved part of the city, or if you wanted to serve at a homeless shelter in Oakland, or you wanted to distribute food or prepare to distribute food with City Team in Oakland, you could do that by going to projectpeace.org and just find a location that makes sense to you that you want to join and volunteer for 3 hours on a Saturday. It's a really fun way to uh, hang out with your friends or hang out with your family members and do something meaningful. And rather than just gift to something that's far away, actually go to that neighborhood and see the people that are there. Because when you're near people, they become important to you. And when people are important to you, you care about them more.
Yeah. So I've volunteered a couple times and it's super easy. Project Peace makes it easy to volunteer. You can just sign up on their website and show up. And the one of the places I went to was transitional housing. Uh, and it was really like it was both like I didn't necessarily work directly with the residents of the home, but it was just nice to recognize that I was doing something to make their life better because you can write a check, but so what you're saying about being able to volunteer, both super easy and super rewarding. I think one of the things that I think our culture is struggling with at the moment is kind of the disconnectedness we're feeling from each other. Some of it's coming out of COVID still 5 years later, but also just kind of the political temperature is driving people to almost be fearful of each other. And I think the only anecdote of this is to be with people in real life. And even if you're not necessarily building lasting relationships at these sites where you're volunteering, I think there's something about showing up that enhances my own humanity. I'm not sure if that's been your experience, Devana, but just the like I don't necessarily have to pretend like I'm their best friend, but I can do something meaningful, even if it's just for an afternoon. And I hear anecdotally in certain settings that there are relationships that are made that last longer. But um, I was listening to Sherry and I were comparing notes on a Brené Brown podcast that she was talking with Adam Grant, and they were picking up the topic of empathy. And it was really, and how it's almost become in some circles, even in Christian communities, it being a negative word. I wouldn't say that most Christians feel that way, but it's just weird that this word empathy has become a driver of a wedge. And one of the things about how we get detached from empathy is being detached from each other in real life. So whether
Mhm.
it's something like Project Peace or just your own faith community or some other activity that you're doing, I think it's even more important these days to show up in real life, to see people's stories and not just what social media is telling us about it or what politicians are telling us about it. Because when you see the story yourself, your understanding is so much clearer and you realize that there's so much noise intended to divide us. And so just something as simple by 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon, I think restores us as humans, but restores kind of a hope in our community. Sorry, I got a little preachy there, but it's been hot on my, I was actually re-listening, Sherry. I was re-listening to the podcast this morning on my way in. So it's
Yeah,
very, very live.
it was a good one.
Yeah. I'm
We should put all this in the show notes so people can know where to go.
not going to tell people about other podcasts. This is the only, we just gave them the cliff notes on it.
I was talking about Project Peace
Oh,
and
oh, oh.
Solution.
I'm not insecure or anything. What are you talking about?
No, not at all.
Okay, we'll put a show notes in for the other podcast too.
Yes.
Um, okay, so the Project Peace show notes will be in the show notes. So and I'm sorry, you said when that was coming up in the next couple of days, but they do it quarterly also.
Mhm. Yep, there's 4 opportunities a year. There's still some spots open for the October 25th event. The next one after that is in March, and then there's one in May.
All right.
Okay.
All right. That sounds great. Um, well, so kind of one of the reasons that we wanted to have you on, in addition to finding out all these other opportunities, was we're going to do our annual food drive in coordination with what Walnut Creek Press is doing. Um, I'm not sure if it's being housed still under the auspices of the Care Cottage, but maybe you can just explain what the ask is and then what's going to happen with the food that's delivered.
Sure.
Actually,
Yeah.
before you do that, can you talk about I'm going to interrupt it because I wanted to lead into it a little differently. I asked you earlier about because of the change of the budget at a federal level and then state levels, how has that changed all the partners that you're working with, and also just kind of referencing the Care Cottage role in that broader story?
Sure. I mean, just generally, with the professionals that I work with who are doing the work in nonprofits, this has been a very destabilizing year. Even if large changes and cuts haven't happened specifically in their sphere, just the instability from cuts being made in other spheres is trickling down into all kinds of planning snafus. Like you just don't really know what you can count on. And so people are very stressed. And then the populations who receive services through these organizations are also very stressed because they've come to count on them to help fill in gaps that stabilize their lives. There's kind of a misunderstanding about people who live in poverty that if they just worked harder, they would be able to do more. But in my experience, people who are living below the poverty line generally work harder than anybody that I know who has means. And a lot of that work is done just trying to keep themselves from falling through the cracks. So if they're finding a resource where they can get food, or they're finding a way that they can get their child who has special needs to be able to access resources at the public schools. And then they have to find childcare, and then they have to find extended childcare because they work two jobs. So that's been a hardship for people who receive services, but also the money has, in certain avenues of support, been cut at the federal level. And one of those that's pretty significant and had a trickle down effect even to our own Care Cottage food pantry is the cuts to federal food budget for families who are just on the margin and need to make ends meet and receive free food.
Mm.
Fortunately, the state of California did not cut their budget for food support as much as had potentially been on the, for lack of a better word, chopping block.
Yeah.
But they did come through with some funding. But if people are, I know I was recently talking about volunteering and how important it is to show up in real life. And I would never tell anyone not to donate to a local organization. If you were considering making a financial contribution somewhere, food insecurity is the place to do it because everybody needs to eat. And food costs for us have gone up. My grocery bill is almost double. And I have one kid who's not even living at home. So I have one fewer kid at home, and I'm still paying more every month for groceries. But at our Care Cottage food pantry, we do about $120,000 worth of food assistance every year. And it's we spend less than $20,000 on food because of the subsidies that are available through government and just grocery store generosity. It's a really well run and efficient organization, and it does um, huge amounts of value to a family. Typically, a family will come to us and get between $50 and $150 of grocery assistance once per month. And that's a tank of gas, two tanks of gas, or your electric bill. So it's a really great way to keep people from falling off and losing their housing.
Is food distribution still associated with the food bank? You still have that relationship?
Yes.
So how does that work?
So we're a food bank partner agency, and there's about more than 60 of them in Contra Costa County. Many of them are faith-based, but not all. And so we receive food through the agency portal. We can make purchases of things that are done through Feed America, and we can purchase whatever we think that our grocery guests would want to bring home. And we pay for those items at a discounted rate. They come straight from farmers. And then there was a law passed, I'm not exactly sure when, but it was a law that was enforcing reduction of compostable matter going into the landfill. And so everywhere that like grocery stores and restaurants, they all need to be responsible in downstreaming their what would be food waste. For anything that could be usable, it needs to go to a place where it would be used. And so there's a lot of donations that come from grocery stores, Costco, Trader Joe's, larger restaurant chains that gets donated to the food bank as well, and we can receive all of that for free. So we
Wow.
multiply the amount of food that we can receive. We just did our distribution delivery today, and our grocery store is packed to the gills. We have about 80 loaves of bread, just food. We have cartons of chocolate milk, and we only paid $250 for all of that, and we're going to see at least 45 families. So just
Wow.
this week.
Wow. Um, that's kind of amazing. Uh, all right. So you're doing the regular food distribution on a monthly basis, but the season we're moving into, you have a different project. So why don't you tell us about now back to the question that I asked earlier.
Yeah.
What's the ask and what's happening during the leading into the holidays?
Yeah, so at the holidays, everybody's needs increase. Ours do. You're hoping to pay an extra tank or two of gas so you can go visit your family, or also you have to heat your house, which you didn't have to do previously. So it's much more expensive to heat your house than it is to cool your house. This is just an expensive time of year. So even people who generally don't need to seek food assistance, come November and December, they find themselves needing assistance, even if just for the short term. So we do about double the amount of assistance in November, December than we do, and January as well, than we do for the rest of those months on the calendar. And even though we have, as I just explained, made a very small amount of money go very far away in the amount of assistance we can provide, we can't afford to do as much assistance as we need to do in November, December. So in those months, we really lean on our community to make specific contributions of food donations to help us get through. Also, the thing about the food bank is what's available there is limited by what farmers can donate, and farmers don't donate sugar cookie mix or the things that make the holidays fun.
Yeah.
So we really do lean on our neighbors and our community to make those very special holiday food donations during this time of year.
So do you have a list of things you want people to donate, or are you looking for, Safeway gift cards so you can go buy what's needed?
Safeway gift cards can help because sometimes we do end up needing to make like specific purchases as the season goes on. The easiest thing to do is to donate holiday special foods
Mhm.
in sizes that could like family size box of cookie mix that's shelf stable and doesn't need to be refrigerated. Those are the sort of things that we're really looking for. I have a list online at wcpc.church/events, and then you would roll down to the toy drive. And I think that I can do wcpc.church/food. That link becomes active in November so that people can get there directly. But I'll give you the links that are available right now. And that has on there, like, we also collect brand new toys because we do allow people to shop for toys for their family at no cost to them. So it's a very jolly time of year. We're trying to help everybody have fun, not just be scraping things together.
So in a typical month throughout the year, you do about, I heard you say 45 families. Is that about right? And then for the holiday season, what does that end up? How many families are you hoping to be able to provide holiday meals and Christmas gifts for?
We are hoping to serve 86 families for toys. And on top of that, it will be another 55 for food. And everyone who comes in for toys also receives food. So we end up serving about 300 children and about 900 adults.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And
Yeah.
so some of that will be in the lead up to Thanksgiving and some of that will be the lead up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And can families come back both those times or just once during the season?
Yep. So we serve guests once per month. So if you are very good at managing your calendar and you make an appointment in November and you make an appointment in December, good for you. You get food twice.
All right. All right. Um, that's amazing. All right. And and how long has Walnut Creek Press been doing something like this? I mean, as long as I can remember. Do you have any sense of,
At least 25 years.
yeah. So where the care cottage is on the church campus, it's actually formerly a duplex that's just off the corner of the parking lot. And did you know that Peter Young used to live in that?
Yeah,
Uh,
I do
uh,
know
yeah. Peter's a good friend, and we have sold both of his kids' houses.
that.
But he's been around the church for so long that he used to volunteer with the youth group, and I think he lived in those when he was volunteering with the youth group. But
He
times
did.
have changed, and Peter's got his own house now. Imagine that. He's a real live adult. Um, is- do you have Peter show up as Santa Claus by any chance?
Peter, I don't know if we're allowed to tell everybody that Peter is Santa Claus because
Well,
then,
he's Santa's helper. Like he's Santa's helper. He's not Santa. He's Santa's helper because, Santa's busy making toys.
yeah, I do have a picture of Peter cleaning out the gutters at the church because he works here still as one of the facilities team members. And it was in like this time of year when we need to clean out all our gutters,
Yeah.
as you also do, apparently, Adam. And I took a picture and I was like, Santa's early and he forgot his suit because he was up on the
Oh, that's hilarious. That sounds like that needs to be on social media someplace.
roof.
Um, So, we were talking about the food, like kind of the immediate need. So people should look at the show notes to find the website. We'll put the list of food that you're interested in. If you want
Mhm.
to deliver it to the church yourself, you can do that on Sundays, I imagine.
Yep, you can start bringing in your food donations or toy donations as soon as this Sunday if you wanted to. We'll be receiving donations all the way through the second Sunday of December. Also, if you can't come on a Sunday or you come to church and you forgot to bring a donation, we also receive the donations Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning and Tuesday, Thursday afternoon.
And you might also be able to get Sherry and Adam to come pick it up at your house if One Oak Creek Press is not your church, or if you don't um, aren't able to get out, just let us know and we can
Yeah.
come do that. Um, all right. Anything else that you think that our listeners should know about this particular need or needs in general, even if it's not at Walnut Creek Press?
Sure. I mean, the last thing I would say is that we have expectation that there is a certain type of person who is in need, who has need. And it's possible that your clients have need. People sometimes buy houses when they're in a good spot, and then jobs change or the economy changes, and you're not in a good spot anymore. So I would just encourage people do not be ashamed to access resources, whether that means I would love to have you be one of the guests in our care cottage to receive food. If you're having a tough Christmas this year and you need toys, just make an appointment with us. There's no difference between people who give and people who receive, except for that some people have and they give, and some people need and they receive. That's the only difference. Everything else about us is the same. So I would just really encourage people to be honest with themselves about what part of the giving receiving relationship you're in, because both of them are necessary and you should be always giving or always receiving. If you're not participating in that economy, then you're really missing out.
I love that.
Thanks, Devon. I appreciate it. Sherry, any final questions or thoughts you have?
No, it's always so inspiring to have Devana on. I remember last time just thinking about it for days after we recorded it. So thanks, Devana.
Thanks for having me, Sherry.
You are welcome anytime.
All right. It feels a little odd to do my normal sign off, but I don't know what else to say. Dorothy was right. There's no place like home. And maybe if we all went to Iowa, we'd have some cornbread. Is that it? Does that work? Anyway. All right. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to my bad humor and listening to us chat today. We hope that you get involved, reach out to us, check the show notes. Devana, thanks again for being here. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.